Hi students, welcome back. So we just finished up our unit on ancient civilizations, and I hope you guys really enjoyed that unit. But now we're going to move on to this unit of world religions. We're going to look at each of the world's religions individually and kind of look and see how they've helped develop geographically and kind of how those have affected different issues in today's society. Okay, so now students, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to break up into your clusters, and I really want you guys to think about this question. What do you guys know about the major religions of the world? I'm hoping that as you guys kind of see what you guys know, it'll kind of help you guys show how much you guys actually learn throughout this lesson and throughout this whole unit. Okay, students, so we're going to start with some basic history of Islam and the Islamic faith. So basically, the founder of Islam is Muhammad. He's the prophet, the founder of Islam, and he lives in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. And he was born in 570 AD. One day, when 610 AD, Muhammad is meditating in a dark cave, and it is believed that Gabriel, this archangel, comes out and recites the words of Allah to Muhammad. And so, about 613 AD, Muhammad goes around and starts preaching these messages that he's received, these prophecies that he's receiving. In 622, he travels to Medina, preaching everything that he knows, and he pretty commonly goes back between Medina and Mecca. This is why it's common in the Islamic faith to make pilgrimages from Medina to Mecca, because Muhammad did do this quite a bit. And then in 632 AD, Muhammad passes away. Okay, so in 632, Muhammad died. And after Muhammad's death, there's kind of some struggles within the Islamic faith to figure out who's going to be the next leader of the Islamic Church. So here, as you can see in the bolded, this is going to be our first key term for this unit, and it's a caliph, and that is an Islamic ruler. So after Muhammad dies, and there is some struggle to figure out who's gonna become the next ruler. Abu Bakr takes over, and Bakr is Muhammad's father-in-law, and he rules the Islamic Church for 2 years, and then he dies in office. And then we have Caliph Umar. Caliph Umar is also another one of Muhammad's father-in-laws, but Caliph Umar is assassinated as he is in this position of leading Islamic. So then Uthman, which is one of Muhammad's son-in-laws, takes over. Um, and this is where we kind of get into this situation where I just want to put this disclosure out there that religion is very broad. There's a lot more scope to it than what we're going to be going over in class, and so I just want you guys to understand that. So then we have this break in the Islamic Church, and this is the Sunnis. We have the Sunnis and the Shiites, and the Sunnis believe that Islam was a direct descendant of Muhammad, and the Shiites don't. So the Sunnis and the Shiites begin there's this break in the Islamic faith, in the Islamic Church, between the Sunnis and the Shiites. Um, okay, so that period where you have those four leaders in in the Islamic Church, each of those that period is known as the four caliph period. And during the four caliphs, there's a lot of growth in the Islamic Church. So I wanted to kind of show you on this map, kind of where it was kind of expanded. So you can kind of see from this key that the Islamic world under Muhammad was from 622 to 632, and it's this dark orange color. So you can see down here how much is Muhammad spreads the word of Islam. And then, as you can see on this next one, is that this orange, this more moderate orange, shows the growth that was added by the four caliphs, and that was from 632 to 661 AD. And you can see all the way up here, all the way through Tripoli, all the way up into Afghanistan. You see, really, this Islamic faith take off. And so I really want us to get this sense of where exactly Islam is kind of taking off. And then you can see also this pink is the territory added by the Umayyad Caliphs from 661 to 750, and that's all the way up here, even into a little bit of France. So, I mean, this is Islam is really taking off here, and I really wanted you guys to see kind of geographically where we're talking about on the maps. Okay, so we kind of talked about the geographical parts of Islam, and we kind of talked about the historical parts. Now we're going to focus more on the religion aspect. So, um, people in Islam, of the Islamic faith, read what is called the Quran. So this is their holy book. In Christian, it's called the Bible. In Islam, it's called the Quran. And basically, there's kind of some debate as to if Muhammad actually wrote this or if it was um, his scribes, because some people will say Muhammad doesn't know how to write, other people will say that. So, what I do want you guys to know is that the Quran, the ideas came from Muhammad. It was based off of what Muhammad learned about Allah throughout his life. The other thing that's interesting is it was compiled. It was written. It came out shortly after Muhammad's death, which would also show us that it could not. It's possible that Muhammad's not the one that wrote it. But I do want us to know the Quran is the holy book of the Islamic faith, and that it is Allah's word. So in Islam, Allah means God. Okay, so in Islam, they follow the Quran, they read the Quran. They also follow what is called the five pillars of Islam. And basically, these are five things that are important in the Islamic faith. So, Shahada, which means that's the first thing that you do, and that's to declare one faith in God and believe in Muhammad. So, this idea of declaring that God and Muhammad and believing in Muhammad. Then you have Salah, which is to pray 5 times a day. There's a very specific way that Muslims will go about this. A lot of mosques have prayers places up top. And in countries that use Muslim Islamic law as their government law, they will get time off from work to be able to go pray. And then there's zakat, which is just means to give to those in need. That means giving to the poor. Swam, which means fasting during Ramadan. So in the Islamic faith, fasting means no food during the light. So during this time of Ramadan, you don't eat during the day, basically. And we have had students in our school that can't go to lunch because of this. And then Hajj, which is this pilgrimage to Mecca. And this is this idea that goes on at least once in everybody's lifetime. And it's also this idea that this was, this is from that again from Medina to Mecca. This is where this originates from Muhammad's journeys from Mecca to Medina. So to just kind of wrap up this lesson, I wanted to go over some key holidays in the Islamic faith and then different laws in the Islamic faith. So as you saw on that map in that Middle Eastern area where there's all that orange, that's the place. Those places are really heavily Islamic, and a lot of them will follow Sharia law, which basically just means they're using Islamic law as their military law, as their government law. And Islamic law is really strict. So it's really strict about government's control on marriage as well as what you're wearing. Very strict on just a lot of different things. So in that big bright orange area, you're going to see a lot of that Sharia law. And then I just wanted to touch on two main holidays in the Islamic faith. So Eid al-Adha. So this is what celebrates Prophet Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son for Allah. And then Eid al-Fitr is the mark's end of Ramadan. So basically, this means that the fasting period is over, and people can eat as they wish.